Okay, so, uh, have you ever been scrolling online, just doing your thing, and bam, you get hit with an ad, one that promises something, well, pretty incredible,
Yeah, happens all the time.
especially with health stuff, right? Things that sound almost too good to be true.
Definitely. We've all seen them.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into one of those products that's been getting a lot of buzz lately, FormFlex Metabolic Boost Drops.
Ah, yes. I've seen that name around.
It's been making quite a splash online. Lots of chatter, these really headline-grabbing claims about, significant super fast weight loss.
Right. And for this deep dive, our plan, really our mission, is to look beyond just those surface claims.
Yeah.
We want to get into the details, try to understand the mechanisms they're talking about, and, look at the common observations from the info that's out there publicly.
So the goal is helping you, the listener, make sense of it all.
Exactly, to help you navigate this whole world of online health products, which can be, let's be honest, pretty complex.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We want to really get clear on what FormFlex claims it does, and then, crucially, what other insights does the source material give us? We want to arm you with the info you need to be genuinely well-informed, Move past the hype.
Get to the grounded facts.
Yeah, so let's start with those core claims. The stuff you see online about FormFlex Metabolic Boost Drops, it's pretty bold.
That's one word for it.
We're talking about people supposedly losing like a remarkable amount of weight. The figure often thrown around is 20 kilograms in just a few weeks.
Wow. Okay.
That's not just significant, that's incredibly fast by almost any measure.
It really is.
And the hook, the thing that makes it even more eye-catching, is they say this can all happen without changing your diet or exercise habits.
The magic bullet idea.
Exactly. Plus, it's described as natural and even doctor-approved, which, adds that layer of seeming legitimacy.
Those labels carry weight.
And it's not just that you lose weight, it's how they claim it works that's caught our attention. This is where it gets really interesting, maybe on the science-y sounding side.
Okay.
FormFlex says it works by mimicking certain hormones in your body.
Uh-huh.
It pretends to be these hormones, and that gets your system to react in a way that boosts metabolism and helps you lose weight.
Precisely. And for those listeners who are sort of clued into this stuff, the hormones we're talking about here are GLP-1 and GIP.
Right. Heard of those?
Yeah, they're pretty central now. So look, instead of a full-blown biology lecture, let's just focus on why these two are so important in, weight management circles.
Okay.
GLP-1, that's glucagon-like peptide 1, and GIP, glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide. They have really crucial roles.
Like what, specifically?
Well, they're involved in regulating your appetite. They send signals to your brain that can basically dial down hunger.
So you feel less hungry.
Exactly. And they also influence how our bodies process fat and sugar. They're going to help you feel fuller, longer, and manage how you use energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
And what's really crucial to understand here is that these aren't just some obscure terms. They are the exact targets of some very advanced, medically prescribed weight loss drugs that are available today.
Ah, okay. So there's a connection to actual prescription meds.
A very direct one.
Yeah.
And that connection gives us a really key point of comparison as we dig a bit deeper into FormFlex. It's fascinating how central these hormones are to our body's whole weight regulation system.
It really is, and you can see why tapping into that sounds so appealing, that scientific connection, using your body's own system.
It's a powerful narrative.
But, okay, when we take those claims, those FormFlex claims, and we hold them up against what we generally know about, human physiology and established health advice, what starts to stand out when we look a bit closer at the implications?
Well, I think the first thing that just jumps right out is that number, that 20 kilograms in just a few weeks.
Yeah, that speed.
Right. Our bodies,
Yeah.
they just aren't really built for that kind of super rapid change. I mean, the idea of quick results is tempting, obviously.
Of course.
But medical science, nutritional science, they consistently recommend a much slower, more gradual approach, usually something like 0.5 to 1 kilogram per week, maybe 1 to 2 pounds a week for our listeners in the U.S.
And why is that? Why is slower generally better?
Because losing weight that fast often comes with downsides. You can end up losing a lot of muscle mass, not just fat. And muscle is metabolically active, so losing it can actually slow down your metabolism long term.
Oh, interesting. Didn't think of that.
Yeah, and there's also a higher risk of things like nutrient deficiencies, gallstones, and honestly, rebound weight gain.
Yeah.
Because those kinds of rapid changes, they're usually just not sustainable.
Right.
It sort of sets up unrealistic expectations and can even push people towards unhealthy dieting habits. So that speed claim, it definitely raises questions about realistic expectations.
That's a really critical point. And then there's that other really attractive bit without changing your diet or exercise habits.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if FormFlex is mimicking GLP-1 and GIP, and you said those influence appetite, wouldn't that kind of automatically lead to some change in diet? Because you'd just be less hungry?
That's a fantastic question.
Or is there maybe a disconnect in how it's marketed, making it sound like zero effort is needed?
You've hit on a really common point of a potential, let's say, misinterpretation. While it's true that GLP-1 and GIP can reduce appetite, and that might naturally lead someone to eat less,
Yeah.
the idea that you can drop 20 kilograms without any conscious changes to your habits, even just small adjustments to support a healthy calorie deficit, that feels like an oversimplification.
Okay.
Look, sustainable weight loss, even when you do have hormonal support, it really thrives on a balanced approach. It's still fundamentally about creating that energy deficit.
Right. Calories in, calories out, essentially.
Essentially. And while appetite suppression definitely helps make that easier, active choices about what you eat and how you move, those are still foundational. Foundational for long-term health, not just the number on the scale.
So suggesting you can just completely bypass diet and exercise for that kind of major weight loss?
Well, it certainly warrants some critical thinking, doesn't it? Especially when we're talking about a goal as big as 20 kilos.
Okay. So you've got these big claims, these physiological points to consider, the nuances around lifestyle changes. And then you mentioned the connection to actual regulated medical treatments.
Right.
The ones that also target these same hormones, GLP-1 and GIP. You know, drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy that people might have heard of.
Exactly.
What are the really key differences that you want our listeners to grasp between a supplement like FormFlex and these medically prescribed regulated medications?
Okay, this is crucial. I think it really boils down to two things: rigor and oversight.
Rigor and oversight. Okay.
These prescription drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, and others like them, they're pharmaceuticals. They have to go through years, sometimes decades, of really stringent clinical trials.
Like tests on actual people.
Exactly. Multiple phases of human testing to prove both that they work their efficacy and that they're safe before they ever get near a patient.
Right.
And they're not just doctor approved, like maybe one doctor gave a thumbs up in an ad. They're approved by major regulatory bodies. Think the FDA in the US, the EMA in Europe,
Okay.
which means their benefits have been scientifically weighed against their risks by independent experts.
Oh.
And crucially, they are prescribed by a healthcare professional. Someone who looks at your specific health situation, monitors you for side effects, gives you proper guidance.
That sounds very different from buying drops online.
It's a fundamentally different category from an over-the-counter supplement. Supplements typically have far, far less stringent requirements for proving their claims or their safety before they go on the market.
Got it. And well, the elephant in the room when you compare them is usually the cost, right? FormFlex is positioned as being, considerably cheaper, way more affordable. And for someone listening, that could be a massive draw, couldn't it, if they're looking for help, but can't afford those expensive prescriptions?
It's a huge factor, understandably.
But what does that price difference really tell us in this context? Why aren't Ozempic or Wegovy just a few dollars like FormFlex might be?
It's a critical signal. It speaks volumes about the investment that goes into development and testing.
How so?
When you see a really dramatic difference in price like that, it's almost never just because one company is being, extra generous.
Right.
Prescription drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, they involve absolutely massive costs for research and development. Then add in those extensive clinical trials we talked about, super strict manufacturing quality control, the whole rigorous regulatory approval process. All that adds up and contributes to their higher price.
Okay, that makes sense. All that testing costs money.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
So a much lower price point for a supplement often implies or strongly suggests that it simply hasn't gone through anything close to that same level of testing and scrutiny.
So it's like the price reflects the evidence behind it?
In many ways, yes. It's often the difference between a product that has robust, peer-reviewed scientific data backing its specific formulation and claims versus one that might be relying more on marketing language, even if it borrows some scientific-sounding terms.
Right.
Now, this isn't to say all supplements are useless, but understanding why that price differs so drastically really highlights the vast gap in the evidence base and the regulatory framework behind them.
So just to kind of bring that all together quickly, we've looked at FormFlex's really compelling claims. That super fast, seemingly effortless weight loss, the idea of mimicking those important hormones.
Hmm.
But then we've held this up against some pretty grounded observations, like the typical much slower pace of sustainable weight loss that experts recommend.
Right.
The fundamental role lifestyle still plays, even if appetite is reduced. And then that stark difference in, like you said, rigor and oversight compared to the clinically approved prescription options, all sort of underscored by that big price difference.
Exactly.
Really does make you pause and think about, what you're actually getting for your money. So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's just quickly recap the core tension we've been exploring here.
Okay.
On one side, you have these really alluring claims from FormFlex Metabolic Boost Drops, promises of rapid, almost effortless weight loss, supposedly achieved by mimicking those key hormones, GLP-1 and GIP.
The hook.
Right. And then on the other side, we've laid out this backdrop of critical observations. We compared those claims to the sheer speed of the results versus what medical advice usually suggests. We looked at the idea of it working without lifestyle changes and the clear distinctions from those medically regulated prescription drugs that target similar pathways.
The context.
Exactly. The broader context.
And, that brings us pretty neatly to the main takeaway for you, our listener.
Yeah, what's the bottom line here?
The bottom line is, when you're considering any supplement or weight loss product, whether it's FormFlex or literally anything else you might see advertised online, doing thorough, independent research is step one.
Okay.
And step two, which is absolutely crucial, is having a conversation with a trusted healthcare provider. A doctor, a registered dietitian, someone qualified.
Why is that so important?
Because it's not just about asking, does this thing work? It's about understanding what might genuinely be safe, what might be effective, and what's actually going to be beneficial for your unique individual health needs and your specific circumstances.
Right, because everyone's different.
Exactly. Your health is incredibly personal. What works wonders for one person might be ineffective or even harmful for another. Professional guidance is key.
Absolutely. And I guess that leaves us with a final, maybe provocative thought for you, the listener, to kind of chew on after this deep dive is over.
Go on.
In this age where health solutions or things claiming to be solutions are literally just a click away, how do we actually equip ourselves to truly evaluate what's being offered?
Good question.
Maybe more importantly, what are the questions we should always be asking? Asking ourselves and asking our healthcare professionals when we come across products like FormFlex, especially when they make such bold promises and touch on these really fundamental biological processes.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Critical thinking is key.
It really is. So stay curious, stay critical, and stay well.